do is go ahead and draw it first, do our drawing on our paper, and then I can show you right on the drawing as to how that masking fluid works. I did give you some tips. Don't use a blow dryer. Don't leave it on for more than a couple of days, especially here in the desert, because it dries so fast. Some masking fluid comes off fairly easy with just rubbing your finger. I found that with this one. This is what's called a rubber cement pickup, and it's just a piece of rubber. And what it does is it helps to loosen the masking fluid. So if you have trouble getting it up, and you want to make sure that you use a paper that has enough substance to it, like handmade papers that are really soft. You can't really use masking fluid on them because the paper isn't strong enough to be able to pull it off and leave the paper. So it'll pull your paper apart. So you need to be careful with that. Three blooms here in the front. I'm just gonna skip this part back here. It's just, it takes it, because this is such a small piece of paper, it doesn't give me enough background space if I put another flower up here. And there is that rule of three, 5, that in creating a composition, doing odd number compositions of items in your paintings is a good rule of thumb too. It's that asymmetrical compositional image. Okay, so I'm gonna darken this a little bit more. just a thought too. You are perfectly welcome to, because you have, send you the photo in advance so that you can look at it, decide, make some ideas, decisions, judgments about what you would like to do. And you are perfectly welcome to do your pencil sketch in advance of class. And I haven't said that before because I just didn't think about it, but it's perfect. That would be perfectly fine, because sometimes it takes longer to do that part than it does the painting part. And it helps, when you're first figuring things out, having time to make those decisions can be helpful. Okay, so as you can see, it's very light, but I can see it. And so now I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a demo on the masking fluid. Now, this masking fluid comes with a very tiny tip, which I'm not sure I'm going to use because it's what I want. These parts I want to paint it on because I want to protect that whole area. And so what you want to do is you want to give yourself a make sure you have a wet paper towel. This stuff dries really fast, and you don't, use an old brush or a cheap brush. Don't use your good new brushes for this, because it is sometimes it's hard to get out, and especially if you don't keep your brush. That's why I have the wet paper towel, so I can get it out of there in a hurry. Okay, so I've got a wet brush, and I'm just going to put some of this on and then you just paint it on. Some masking fluids have a lot of color in them, makes them easier to see. It doesn't stay on your paper. It just makes it easier to see where it is. So when you're ready to pull it off, you can find it. Oh, a wet hand. So you just want to put a nice coating on, not too thick, but you want to cover the areas that you don't want to get painted in your background. If you want, you can also, like on these big areas, it would be okay just to run the masking fluid around the edges. You would still have to be careful about centers, but at least you would keep the green from, or the color, the background color from seeping into the edges of your flowers. And then it's good to go right away and use some soap and wash the stuff out of your brush. It's almost dry. It starts to get a little bit of a sheen to it, which makes it easier to see as well. And so I am going to start with, I'm going to just mix it up a little bit with, I'm going to start with the pale gamboge background. I'm just going to put down a layer, a very light layer. Close that. What I've found is that, especially in flat, you know, in atmospheric paintings, where you've got or outside, you know, outside images, have using a layer of gamboge just gives you kind of this sense of sunlight. It's almost like sunlight penetrating your paper or your image. Let's see. Yeah, that'll probably be light enough. So, but I don't want to, I'm going to make sure that this is dry first. I think it could dry just a little bit more. You want to keep this masking fluid out of the sunlight too, because it'll work just like the blow dryer. It'll cause it to melt. So I'm wetting the page first. Let's see, beating up on there. This gives it just a little texture. And actually, while it's still wet, I'm going to go ahead and put a few soft kind of yellow orange, which is really, it's kind of, it starts with a gamboge. I'm going to do a little bit more, a deeper, so that I'm starting to build up a little bit of this color that I want in the hair. Just want to keep those soft. And always add more to them later if I want. So I'm just creating a soft background here. But once it dries, then I can go, if I want, I can go in and add some darker areas. I can add some, some of these details, the stem details. I don't know if I dare throw some blue in there too. Let's see. Let's try it over here. I don't care about over here. Yeah, why not? I like this nice dark area that kind of comes around here at the base of the flowers underneath them, because it kind of sets them off and kind of frames them a little bit. I'm using Indian Throne blue, which makes a really lovely deep green when you mix it with the sap green. Anyway, so even though this is wet, we'll see what it does when it's wet. But I think it should be. Notice I'm keeping the edges of, as I put these colors on, I'm keeping them very soft. You don't want your colors to, hard edges to dry. Now, these areas where it's very light, you can see that I didn't make strong lines on my leaves. And so what I'm going to end up with is I'm going to be able to have some various texture in my leaves down and my stems here. So I did that on purpose. Before I take the masking fluid off, this has to get, I have to be fairly clear that my background, at least around the flowers, is complete. So I won't take the masking fluid off till the background is pretty much complete and it's all dry. So that will be a tomorrow project. My job now is just to make sure that I don't have any, that these hard edges don't dry. So you never really know what you have until it all dries. So these dark areas may lighten up a lot. They may need another layer or a different value, a different color to create different value.